So we needed to read about a dog getting fingered in order for you to tell us about being a good. Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of What You're Reading with Athena. I am Athena, your book obsessed best friend, and I'm here to tell you about what I've been reading lately and what I'm going to pull off my to be read pile next, okay? So y'all might have noticed I've been gone for a minute, now I'm back with the Jump Wolf. Goons in the club, case poppin' Jump Wolf. I've been gone for a while because I needed a break. I think for the first time in my history of reading books, I had a book that kind of just really broke me. not in a good way. So before I jump into the review and reminding you guys of what I'm reading, please, if you are a watcher or a fan of what I do here, please make sure that you like. Please make sure that you subscribe so that I can engage with you guys and keep on making these videos. I'm going to keep reading regardless, but it's up to you to decide if you're going to be in on it. You know what I'm saying? So like, subscribe. Thank you very much. Okay, on to business. If you remember where we left off last time, I was very freaking excited, over the moon, that the part 2 book of Coldest Winter Ever by Sister Souljah was coming out. Now, the first part came out, I want to say 20 years ago. And this part has been long awaited. People have been whispering about it, wondering if she's going to do it. And when it finally dropped that she was going to, give us the second book that we've been waiting for, people was like, yes. And I was in the middle like, yes. I couldn't wait. I wanted it so bad. So was hella excited to read this book. I read the other book to keep up, what was going on. And then I dived into this book right here. So it's Life After Death, Sister Souljah. This is the sequel to the first book. So this was the first book, The Coldest Winter Ever by Sister Souljah, that came out 20 years ago. I was literally like 14 years old reading this book that was not for me. It's rated MA, but I was reading it along with probably everybody else, right? So this book came out last month, early March, and I was like, I'm here. I pre-ordered it. Was waiting to just be pulled back into the stories. To catch you up, this book follows Winter Souljah. Winter is in the first book, she is the daughter of a major drug lord in Brooklyn, right? He's on top, he's running everything, mad money coming in, bougie ghetto lifestyle that they were living, and she was fully in it. Just so happened, he wound up getting knocked by the police, and things went down quickly from there. So this, the first one was kind of like a fall from grace sort of story about her family and how they had to deal with transitioning from being this, I'm the head, bitch in charge in Brooklyn, to being pretty much nothing and having to work her way back up. So at the end of that book, I'm sorry if you haven't read it in the past 20 years, but this is probably going to spoil it for you. At the end, Winter winds up getting locked up herself, and she goes to jail. She's sentenced to, I believe, about 15 years in jail. So that's how the last book ended, right? So this next one, we were like, okay, we want to figure out what happened. How has Winter been doing in jail? Did she get out? Like, what's going on, girl? What's going on with this? What's going on? The second book, I'm laughing because it's a mess. So the second book opens with, we're with Winter and she's talking about how she's doing. Pretty much that she's in jail and what's going on. I'm not going to spoil anything. This next part is going to be completely spoiler free. But Winter is on the precipice of her release date, and she's kind of coordinating with her sisters and her sister's husband on, what her big I'm leaving jail scene is going to look like, what she's going to wear. They're trying to get her a deal for a reality TV show that kind of chronicles her life. They think it'll be really huge. People will, tune in, like Love and Hip Hop, but drugs. So she's got that lined up for her. But when she gets out, things don't go as planned. So I can't really tell you what I didn't like about the story without at least giving you the premise. So I'm very sorry. All right, I'm just gonna warn you. So the premise is that Winter Souljah ends up in this underworld because an attempt that was made on her life. So Winter gets out of jail, but before she can even step foot into real life and kind of take on this reality TV persona and step back into her bad bitch status, she gets killed. So that is, it happens. From there, up until that point, I was interested. After that, however, yeah, so let's start with what I liked about the book. I always like to start with positive. So what I liked about the book is that she tried to do something different. I can appreciate that. Whenever you're an author, you're creative. So you're really trying to bring your readers into a different world or present something to them in a different way. And I can't knock that. I think it's great that she tried to take a different approach and give us something other than the traditional story that we were kind of expecting and, anticipating. I'm glad that she decided to go in another direction. However, I think that when you try to go in another direction, you still have to make sure that it's good and that it's well executed. And I think in this sense, she may have had another agenda or another moral that she wanted to push that really got in the way of her writing a really beautiful story. So that's pretty much the only thing that I liked about the story, is that she tried to do something different. Other than that, I thought it was a mess. Overall, throughout the entire book, I kept expecting to get an email from Amazon telling me, "Surprise, you've been pumped. Thank you for being part of our social experiment, where we see if fans of longtime author Sister Souljah will still say her book is good even if it's trash." I really thought that I was part of some sort of gotcha, and I'm expecting. Because it's not even just that the story was not well executed. It was poorly written. Just the technical writing of the story was very poor. And so the main character, Winter, is, of course, she's from the hood. She's from Brooklyn. So we get that some of her speech and everything like that is told from her point of view. So we get that some of it is going to kind of be reductive or kind of like really hood and kind of slang. I get that. But it wasn't even that. It was just really dumbed down to the point where you felt like you were reading something that literally my 6-year-old daughter would probably write. It's harsh. It's bad. It's bad. And I'm going to let it speak for itself, okay? So I'm going to read you a little excerpt of this book so that you can see what is going on. But let me set it up for you first. All right? So Winter, as soon as she gets out of jail, she steps out out of the jailhouse gate. You could tell I ain't been in jail. Out of the jailhouse gate, she steps. Bitch, I don't know what I'm talking about. Wherever you go when you first get out of prison, that's where she stepped out of. It was supposed to be a whole crowd waiting for her, but in this crowd was one of her supposed girls. It turned out to be a frenemy, right? Who was jealous of the fact that she was getting this huge attention and payout and that she wouldn't be getting anything or very little of it. So she shoots Winter and kills her. From there, we're plunged into this area of the book where Winter is really in this kind of purgatory. She's in this, not quite in hell. She's not in heaven either. She's in this middle place that is really strange. So I'm all about world building, but the ratchet stuff that was going on in here was just crazy. I can't even get into it because it's too much. It's literally too much. It was all over the place. A little bit of everything was involved, and I just didn't know what the hell was happening or why. So this little excerpt that I'm about to read, in this purgatory or whatever, before she goes really, really deep into, first of all, the place, I'm calling it a purgatory, which is being nice. Sister Souljah literally calls it the last stop before you drop. Why? The last stop before you drop to hell. So whack, so whack. I'm going to continue to call it purgatory. So before she gets to that place, kind of, she's like a spirit floating around and she's visiting different people. She's visiting her father in jail. Of course, she can see them and see what's going on, but they can't see her because she's a ghost. She visits the guy that she was obsessed with in the first book, Midnight. And she, is shot off into the ether and winds up in his mansion, I want to say. Now, as she enters this mansion, Sister Souljah chooses to describe what she's seeing. So Winter is telling us what she's seeing. And this is an excerpt of how, let me just read this. Okay. So it says, "Fact is, I didn't have shit to compare what I was seeing to. The dangling utensils and steel pots and pans were outdone by the immaculate collection of tiny to massive all-glass pots on the stovetop. There was even a glass frying pan. I had never seen cookware like this before. One refrigerator freezer was as wide as 3 family refrigerator freezers. 2 stoves and ovens, a total of 10 burners. A flat griddle for pancakes and a waffle iron for waffles, and blenders and cappuccino machines and graters, slicers, choppers, and toasters, and even a deep fryer, a dough mixer, pasta maker, and an old school popcorn machine, with the butter bin designed like the one in your favorite movie theater. Ceramic dishes and deep bowls and water and juice gourds and deep, well-decorated ceramic soup spoons. That's an entire paragraph. There's more of that paragraph, but yeah, I hope that gives you a little insight to what I'm talking about. It's just not well written. Like, why did we need you to count the number of ovens and count the number of... There are other ways to describe that something is opulent and you know, in excess without literally listing every item in the room. It was like if she was a police officer at like a crime scene and she's going through cataloging everything that's in the damn room. Like, what do we need to know all of that for? And a lot of it is written that way. She has another paragraph where she describes she's walking to one of the doors as she's a ghost, and she comes across a shoe rack, you know, with a bunch of different expensive shoes in it. And she goes on to describe every single shoe that is in that shoe rack. Louis Vuitton, Prada, blah, 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 blah. And it goes on and on and on. And I'm like, what does this have to do with anything? Okay, we get it. It is an expansive, rich-looking place. That's it. Let's get to the story. This goes on for page upon page upon page upon page. I felt so depleted reading this story. And it's really, I thought she was trying to be funny. And I still think that maybe she is. Like, I have no idea. As I said, I'm a real fan of this author. I love The Coldest Winter Ever. I read the Midnight series as well and loved it. So this it's either a joke or it's scary, because I feel like I don't know if something mentally is going on. I don't know if she's feeling pushed to release a book by her publishing company. And so she was just like, fuck it, I'm going to put something together and throw it out. I don't know what it is, but it's disturbing. And I felt really cheated. I felt, I've never really felt angry about paying for something. Usually I'm fine with taking a risk, but this I felt was really, really not even an effort put forth to write a good book. I mean, even down in this Purgatory area, we even got to the point where she was... Let me set it up for you. So Winter has pretty much a choice in this Purgatory. Either she can confess to her sins and ask for forgiveness, and she'll be able to ascend to heaven, or she can continue to kind of do what she's been doing while she was alive and be a hood rat and go further into hell, right? Drop down to hell. She continues to be a hood rat, right? She winds up meeting this guy who is pretty much an offspring of Satan, and every woman that he has sex with turns into an animal. If you feel like you're smoking the strongest reefer right now while you're listening to me, that's how I felt reading this book. Like, you had to be high as intense hell in order to be able to understand this or even wrap your head around it. So at one point, Winter has sex with him several times and she turns into a couple of different animals. But one of the times that she has sex with him, she turns into a dog. And after she turns into the dog, she's like still hanging around him, and they have this scene where he pretty much sexually pleases her as a dog. She's a dog. So it's like, really? We're dealing with the afterlife. We're dealing with bestiality. Just all these weird things that really don't even cohesively make a story. It was like, I can't even really make sense of it. So I'm not going to ramble on. I didn't enjoy it. I thought it was really poorly written, really poorly executed. I do regret the purchase, and I would not recommend anyone to read this book. But if you still want to, Life After Death by Sister Souljah, the sequel to this book, which actually changed my life, The Coldest Winter Ever by Sister Souljah. I'm just going to pretend that this one never happened, and I'm just going to hold on to the nostalgia and live live with this one perpetually. Okay? So if the rest of y'all want to do it with me, let's live in a world where life after death was never written and released. Point freaking blank. So what do I usually do? I haven't done this in so long, I forgot. What is it, like 5 stars? I give this a 1 star for effort. Just literally being able to write and release a novel, I'll give you 1 star for that. That's pretty much it. So, this book. I'm done. I can't believe that. I can't believe I just had to say that review about this book. It sucks. It sucks really, really badly. We're going to go into Goodreads like we usually do. I'm going to try to find some 5 stars and I'm going to try to find some 1 stars to add to mine. And let's see what people thought of it. Maybe some folks found some redemptive qualities in this book that I just could not. All right, so let's dive in. Okay, so I'm just going to read the first 2 that kind of pop up. I'm giving y'all spring right now. I'm giving you... Okay, let's get back to the reviews. What is wrong with me? These are 2 5-star reviews that I will jump off with. Okay, let's go. So Sister Souljah will never write another The Coldest Winter type of book. So if you're looking to receive the same material, don't bother. But if you're looking to look deeper into the words on these pages, you'll see that again, Sister Souljah is providing an urban masterpiece. There is no mindless content full of ghetto bastard behavior in this book. It's about life, lessons, vanity, and the impact our choices have on everyone around us. All right. No. It's just okay. If you think that this is some sort of elevated lesson, I have read books that give unbelievably sound life lessons and they're still well-written books. I get it. I don't think anyone who doesn't like the book is saying that it didn't have a deeper message. We saw the deeper message. We got it, but it just wasn't great. The guy on the train, anybody who lives in New York City or any like metropolitan area, there's always some guy on the train who's preaching from the Bible or preaching from the Quran, trying to tell you how to get your soul saved and how to, return yourself to salvation and everything like that. That's what it was like. They're not saying anything wrong necessarily. They're giving good moral nuggets. But just, dude, you're yelling on a train at 8 a.m. You're not, we don't want. It was a lot of garbage. It was so much garbage and so much filler. I would have been happier if she maybe like cut out all the BS and all the filler and just put a maybe 50 or 100-page book together and was like, here's my offering to you. But no, she tried to, I'm not even gonna get into this. We ain't gonna do this right now. The next one says, you know what? I could be wrong, but I think Souljah used life after death to her advantage. She knew Minnie was waiting for it to drop, and I think she saw it as a perfect opportunity to try to reach and drop the jewels on as many ears that would listen. And many jewels she dropped. Even though she dropped them metaphorically, it still made it a dope-ass read. Actually, it made it more interesting for me, and I will leave it at that. Okay. All right, sis. This is what blows mine. The first book, even though it was a lot of like hood rat ghetto drug selling, like, what's the Italian, like mob family type of things, nothing turned out well for those characters. Okay, so Winter ended up in jail. Her mother got shot in the face. Her father ended up in jail. So there was nothing kind of glorifying that lifestyle. I think in the first book, Sister Souljah did a better job of teaching us lessons about how our negative behavior, negative actions can be of detriment to us. Here in like the here and now, here in life. So I didn't think we needed another book that kind of perpetuated this is bad, this is how to save your soul sort of thing. Like, we got that. Nobody was great. Nobody was like living peachy keen out of the coldest winter ever. It didn't have a great ending. It was already bad. So, dude, I don't know who needed to hear that. I don't know who needed to hear this, that you need to be a good person. Oh, really? We had no idea. Thank you so much for teaching us that we needed to put out positive vibes in the world. That's literally everybody says right now. Positive vibes only. Treat people how you want to be treated. You know, that. So we needed to read about a dog getting fingered in order for you to tell us about being a good. So I'm out of there. Woosah. Okay, now we're going to go over to our 1-star people. So these would be the people who feel the way that I do, and we're going to hear some of their explanations about what they didn't enjoy about this book. So this first one says, let me just start with sis. What in the entire hell was this? Also, I'm about to drop spoilers, so if you don't know why, blah, 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 blah. Okay, this is too long. Why do people write such long reviews? Okay, overall, it says, yikes. Where do I begin with reviewing this? I find it challenging to write bad reviews, and I always try and find something positive to say about a book. She's like me, even if I can. And I try to keep my negative reviews constructive. But honestly, I do not think I can be constructive about this book because there was not one single redeeming thing about my reading experience. And didn't I just say that? Didn't I just say that verbatim? Honestly, this was just a really bad book in almost every measurable way you can assess a book. I'm shocked it's being published, frankly, and I have to think it's only being published because it's a sequel to an intensely popular book and not because of its actual merit as a novel itself. So I'm just going to stop there. That's pretty much it. Oh, no, I'm not going to stop there. I'm going to keep going because this keeps going. Y'all going to bear with us on this one. This story mostly takes place in the gray area between life and death, per the title, which I called the Purgatory, of the main character we all loved and hated in the first book of the series, Winter Santiago. The writing is elementary and unsophisticated. Read what I just read, y'all, okay? The plot is nonsensical and plausible, poorly constructed, and it made Winter Santiago more cruel and unlikable than she was in the first book, which says a lot because in my recollection, she was fairly judgmental and unpleasant in The Coldest Winter Ever. And honestly, when I got to the end and realized the main message of the book, it was clear to me that this is just some respectability bullshit and messy misogynistic propaganda. This book was not worth the time I spent on it. And to be honest, I skimmed the last half because it was so unbearable. I did too, so don't ask me any specifics about the end of the book because I was just like, and what happened? And Yes, so overall, I agree with Sis 100%. It was just, what else do we need? What else do we need? Like, I'm done. I don't even know what else we need here. I really have never disliked reading a book so much, just the experience of reading it. Just like this reviewer said, it angered me to the point where, like, y'all see, it's been a month since I did this, and I really wanted to be like, ooh, because I love Sister Souljah's prior work. I really, really love what she was able to do, the stories she told. I thought it was great. And as this reviewer said, and as I said, we didn't think Winter was great to begin with. Like, no one was like, oh yeah, she doing it. She was materialistic. She had a hard time caring for anyone. She was hyper sexual. Like, it was a lot going on with it. We didn't like her to begin with. So we really didn't need a second book telling us, like, don't be like this character. Be better. Be a good person. Like, I'm over it. I'm really, really over it. And then the way it was written was just so bad. Like, literally, if I had my 6-year-old daughter sit down right now and was like, go ahead and write a story for mommy, baby, it would come out Life After Death. It was just like she was just pulling everything out of her ass. Like, where are we going to go next? Oh, let's go to the ice cream store and make the ice cream be made of worms. And then the worms are going to be ancestors of Satan. And if you eat the worm, you have to go to another place where you can't feel your legs. And then after you can't feel your legs, you have to then sit in a cocoon. And then the only way you can become a butterfly is if you say Jesus is the way 4 times. And then once you say that, you, like, that's literally how this book was. It was like, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? there are better ways. And I'm all about an author like kind of pushing an agenda. If there's something that you really feel strongly about or a message you want to convey to people, do it. That's what all this creative shit is about. But make it good. Is that too much to ask? Make it good. So yeah, book closed on that. Book closed. So I actually, y'all, I took a flight. I went on vacation. When I say I left, I left after reading this book. I was like, I need a minute. I needed to sage. Y'all know what I be talking about. Bad book juju. I needed to get me some. It's like, let me just clear this out. It was a mess. But we're done with that, and we are moving on. And we're moving on to a genre that I'm really, really excited about. We are moving on to our next genre, which is one that I don't read enough. When I do read it, I love it, but I literally don't read this enough. It's fantasy. So I have picked up several fantasy novels that I've been hearing a lot about, or, you know, have been coming up on a bunch of lists and a bunch of conversations. And I wanted to read it for myself and kind of see what the deal is. So I'm very excited to announce my next book. Without further ado, drum roll, please. The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. So, I remember this book because of the premise. It seemed really, really interesting to me. I don't think that I've read any book that kind of touched on this topic or dealt with it. With this premise before, so I was really excited to kind of jump into it. So even though it was one of the last fantasy books I bought, I wanted to start off with it first. It's just people talking about this book everywhere. So let's see what all the hype is about, right? So let me go ahead and read to you guys a little bit of the blurb. Oh, I miss my dramatic stuff. Dramatic stuff, please. We in it. So good to be back. France, 1714. In a moment of desperation, a young woman named Adeline meets a dangerous stranger and makes a terrible mistake. As she realizes the limitations of her Faustian bargain, being able to live forever without being able to be remembered by anyone she sees, Addie chooses to flee her small village as everything she once held dear is torn away. But there are still dreams to be had and a life to live, and she is determined to find excitement and satisfaction in the wide, beckoning world, even if she will be doomed to be alone forever. So that's wild to me. You're being able to live forever without being able to be remembered by anyone that she meets. That's insane. Can you imagine that? Like, I always, whenever I read these premises, I kind of try to put myself in the seat of the main character, and just immediately as I started thinking about how a life like that would be, how if everyone that I met, whether it be my parents or my kids even, or my husband, everyone that I meet, they won't remember me ever. That's wild. I'm interested. I want to see how this plays out, and I want you guys to read it with me. So, number one, if you've read The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, drop it in the comments. Let me know what you guys thought. If you enjoyed it, if you didn't, let me know. And I might start including some of y'all comments in the reviews as well if I get some, you know? So we can put that in there. If you are looking for a next book to read, I'm going to be, you know, chomping away at this for the next week or two. So feel free to pick it up and read it along with me, and we can come back and you guys can let me know what you thought as well. But I'm ready to get into this. And it's a big boy. It's a thickums. It's a little bit of a thickums book, so we'll see how quickly we can get through. But I am so happy just to move on to something that doesn't make my brain, hopefully will not make my brain bleed. Because, well, look, we're not going to talk about that no more. We are not going to talk about that. We're not going to dwell on old shit. All right? So y'all, this has been fun. I'm so glad to be back. We're going to be back on a normal schedule, so you're going to be seeing me in your face, in your area on a regular basis, okay? So again, if you enjoyed this episode, please like. If you want to see more of my stuff, feel free to look at videos that I did in the past. I reviewed a lot of books so far, so keep up with that. And make sure you subscribe. Even turn on your notifications, so it'll tell you, it'll be like ding ding. It'll be like ding ding, Athena just put something. Go look at it. And then you'll be like, ooh. And then you go look at it. And you'll be happy because it's about books. You know what I'm saying? It's about books. It's about books. All right, guys. So have a fantastic week. Drink your water. Get some exercise. Doing it. I look forward to see you guys later. Bye.